But apparently,
Well,
Dig Dug was turned into a total badass. He was
What?
like he was like young, and he had this big old like drill pump thing that he carried.
And he
Man.
just
muscular.
crams that into people and inflates their ass.
Yes.
Wow, that's
now is this
gruesome.
one of those awesome crossover games that sounds cool to foreigners, and when they're talking about it in development, that ended up kind of being like as an overall game kind of crappy or
Yes,
mediocre?
that's correct. It's one of
That's
those.
unfortunate.
Cool idea though.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up. But thanks for calling.
And I think. Oh, and real quick, sorry, since I'm not on the video, just curious, who's all on today?
Scott
like
Sharkey,
who's all-
Jeremy Parrish, and Sam Kennedy.
All right, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna plug a podcast.
Everybody's got to plug a podcast. All right, I guess we're done with the calls.
Yeah.
We're done with the calls.
I don't know. I love the idea of crossover games, and they're always fighting games. I would love to see more
No,
crossover.
This was a
tactics
Capcom was a
game.
tactical
Yeah,
game.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I would love to see more like that were good in execution.
Oh well,
Right.
sure.
I mean, it sounds like a great idea to me.
Like Final Fantasy Tactics, but crossed over with.
Well, Final
Dragon
Fantasy
Quest or
Tactics
something.
crossed over with what, 7? If you did that sub quest,
But there was
thing
already
that-
no.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm
like
talking
that,
about,
except with
like-
other video games.
Yeah, I'm saying like get lots of other influences in there.
Right.
I mean,
Although
if,
there
if you
is,
want crossover fighting games, you still have Mugen or whatever. So you know,
True.
let's-
Falcom has a crossover fighting game, kind of fighting game. It's kind of like a Dissidia game.
Well,
with-
everything Falcom has ever done has been a crossover game, though. I
Has
mean, it seems that way. They are always doing cameos from their other smaller franchises.
Yeah, but this is actually the Legend of Heroes versus Ease.
Oh, weird.
I don't know if that's. that'll
Did you
come
ever
to the US.
play? What the hell was it? Vantage Master.
I didn't.
What the
Oh,
heck is that?
That is so many crossovers you would not believe it.
What is it?
It was a
Like-
tactical game that Falcom made for PC.
Okay.
It was hex based, and they never published it, so they just put it out for free like 10 years ago. And
You never did write up the PSP version for us.
no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I still
We
have it
imported
too.
it so you could write about
I
it.
know.
and you never
I
did.
failed you.
Yeah.
But it was actually one of the first things I wrote up too. Was the free version.
Oh.
But that had everything from like characters from Popful Mail
I think I
and
remember
the
this,
Xanadu
yeah.
games, and
Yeah.
it was characters from Ease, and you could just play as all of them, which was kind of neat.
Hmm.
But
I was not aware
sorry.
of that crossover.
Yes, that was half the reason I enjoyed it so much, was just the ridiculous number of crossover characters.
And Adol was silent, right?
Of course, well, they're all silent. Really, there was no plot to Vantage
Oh.
Master. It was essentially just a multiplayer game.
Hmm.
So
Well.
Now we know.
that has
So I
nothing to do
know-
with anything. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So this weekend we have to all play Moondiver
Yeah.
apparently, yeah,
and work on building our giant monkey robot.
we do.
Yeah.
Well, I already have one.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
it'd be redundant.
So what does it run on?
AA batteries.
But that doesn't run very long. It's like a game gear.
You know, it was a really shitty toy monkey robot that was sold like 7 or 8 years ago that looked just like the one in Strider. So if there's
Does it
fucking-
punching
yeah,
thing?
does
Oh
it
yeah,
keep
no,
punching?
it walks and it punches, and that's all it
Fuck
does. Yeah, it was like shit, man. That's the Strider monkey.
Why did you never bring that to the office?
Because I lost it years ago, actually, but it's
Oh.
still mine
Okay.
in a landfill somewhere in
Find
Minnesota.
another
probably.
one, and we'll get like a Strider action figure. and
No, I have
we'll
wondered if maybe it
recreate that
was
battle.
like a weird Strider-related toy. It was so close, but
Hmm.
no, I don't think it was.
Was it like a Congo toy? Maybe.
I don't know. I love Chinese toys that were obviously intended as some kind of tie-in for a video game franchise, and it never worked. But they kept the
Yeah.
molds and then just used them for generic toys. I don't know. I'm rambling now, but
Yeah.
That's okay.
I told you
Rambling is
I told you about the
what
Battletoads
Retronax
action
is about.
figures, right?
Did
No.
you?
Wait, what?
I had one on
these?
my desk for the longest time.
Were they
Like,
were they from China? Were they
Yes,
were
they were
knockoffs?
fr- they
and
were-
if you
they were
touched the
knockoffs.
plastic, then you would get a rash. If
That
you
was pretty
touched
much how
rash,
it
you would
worked.
get a rash.
Well, they had obviously rash zits and pimple, and it was like holy shit. And of course, they were just in these cardboard things that said space across the top, nothing to do with anything. So obviously, they had been contracted to make
Nice. Yeah,
Battletoads
yeah,
toys,
yeah.
but then it fell apart. So they were just like, we're just gonna keep making these. Except there was another one that had like an eye patch and a shoulder pauldron, and it was like, what is he? Genital warts? How many skin diseases can you name these things after? So.
I'm Captain Chlamydia.
So apparently they intended a lot more. I mean, that's why they made the pilot for the TV show or cartoon that made
Yeah.
one episode and never did anything with it because it was fucking terrible. But
Yeah.
well,
Did Bubsy ever get past the pilot episode?
I don't think so.
That's
did it?
good.
I hope it didn't.
All these series that died young, like they should have.
Thank
Sometimes
God.
you just gotta strangle them in the crib.
We should
Yeah.
definitely do an episode on spin-off media, cartoons and action figures and
Yeah.
that kind of bullshit. I mean, like the Earthworm Jim cartoon was really good. I always missed it half the time though, just because it was on the same time as The Tick. So unless it was a rerun, I never watched it.
Right, right.
But-
Mm.
You know, I remember just real quick. Like I remember reading a lot of stories back in the day when it was started to become more popular for, you know, Hollywood was interested in making movies based on games and stuff.
They
like
always
that.
are. They're always optioning.
People
them,
were always
but-
pointing to Strider as the one that they should do.
You
As
know,
long
I
as
don't.
it's 30 minutes and just consists of him like running
I
and
know.
slashing things.
Yeah,
that's cool.
and just
Yeah.
dropping random hints and crazy bullshit, like he's riding a whale. We're
Yeah,
never
I know,
going to
I know,
explain
I
it
know.
ever.
Strider hear you. He will never leave your age alive.
Yeah,
It would have been interesting to see what they did with it. Though.
it'd have to be a Chinese wire fu
Yeah,
flick
yeah,
that
exactly.
they never explain
Yeah.
anything that's going on.
Yeah.
It would work that way.
I think it would
You
work
even
very
got
well.
the three triplet martial artists.
What?
The sisters.
Oh yes, Three Sisters.
Tong Pu and
Yeah.
I can't
Oh,
remember the rest
God.
of their names. That's the only one I remember. Tong Pu. I think it's because
Apparently,
she
she made
actually.
an impression on
Well,
you.
she has a speaking part in Strider
okay.
too, so I remember her name.
Oh, they brought her back as Strider too. I didn't even notice.
They brought back everything for Strider 2.
Even though it was
Grandmaster's the
2,000
bad
years
guys,
later.
Yes. There's Solo, the flying bounty hunter. There's
Right.
Tong Pu and her
I
sisters.
got you. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all in Strider 2. No one there's no cohesion to it, no common sense.
Yeah. No, it would definitely have to be just a really random ass flick. If there were any exposition, you're ruining it.
Right.
Mhm.
Let
Well,
people
all
make up
right.
their own stories to account for this shit. All right.
So yeah, I guess that about wraps it up for Strider.
Well, I learned a lot today.
Yeah, I
don't know
feel like
about
we
you
So did
guys.
I.
I
Weird.
think we covered everything pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
Like we have explored the ins and outs of Strider.
Yeah.
And there are a few really good websites where you can go, and they've managed to like dig into some of the Japanese source material that was never translated. I believe there's one called the LCS mainframe that's
Oh, yeah.
it's been around for ages, and that was they managed to track down the creator of the game Isuke
Mm.
and interview him a couple of years ago, and I've always been jealous of that. But
Yeah.
they have some really good interviews with him. So yeah, I recommend everyone check that out, and definitely at least download a demo for Moondiver if it has a demo. I think it does.
Yes, it
Apparently,
does.
yeah.
So yes, please at least try it. You might
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's Strider-esque, and who doesn't love that? Anyway, I think next week, I believe Chrono Trigger's coming on a virtual console.
Oh,
and
no
we
way.
haven't done a call-in episode about Chrono
Oh my
Trigger,
fucking
so
god! Can I?
Yeah,
be
we
on
could do that.
we might have to do that. Yeah,
Oh, man.
I think it's gonna happen.
That's the only RPG
Wow.
where I explored every single possible fucking ending.
I've
I-
gotten all the endings. It's funny because the
I
other
almost
night,
don't ever do that though. It's usually I can just see it's behind me now. It's good. I'm
Yeah.
fine. No, all of them.
Yeah.
no, the other night I accidentally left my DS and the copy of Dragon Quest VI that I'm working for at the office.
Mhm.
So I went home and I was like, I want to kill some time. So I looked at my shelf and randomly picked out Chrono Trigger and booted up my file, and I was at the very end. So I beat the game, and then the next day I came into work and there was a press release from Square Enix saying Chrono Trigger
Yep.
coming to Virtual Console this week. Wow,
Great.
that's nice, Kismet. I like that.
That's funny.
So,
Actually, I just downloaded that too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because I'm a creep.
I
finally managed to get a DS emulator
pay
working.
$8 to download it for your Wii.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the Wii I don't have, but I have an excellent emulator. So that's hey, I'm freelance now. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll allow it. All right. Anyway, thanks for everyone for tuning in, and until next week, we talk about old games in our spare time, and also on the clock. Yeah, that's us. I have no idea how to.
You
do
guys
this.
are on the clock. I don't know.
theories.
Of the third kind.
Welcome. First off, I want to say thank you to whomever you are listening for opening your minds to receive an extra knowledge nugget each week. It means a lot to us, and I want you to know that.
Also, before we start, since you, yes, you are a Patreon subscriber, remember that you get priority in topic suggestions. So feel free to shoot those suggestions over to us either by email, Instagram, Facebook, or on Discord.
So today's episode is over the Russian sleep experiment. So how today's episode will go is that we'll talk about what is the Russian sleep experiment, then we'll go into the story of it, then transition into strange facts and findings, theories, and of course wrap it all up with our own personal thoughts and theories. And also, real quick, everyone, I do have a cold and I feel like absolute dog shit. So I won't be reading as much this week. So just a heads up, you don't have to hear this stuffy nose a lot. So just FYI.
It's beautiful, though.
Thank you. All right, so let's get into today's episode.
A scientific experiment in the late 1940s that ended horribly. It involved political prisoners being subjected to experimental drugs and being kept awake for almost a month straight. Many